Good morning, traders. It's Chris from the daxtrader.co.uk. It's Monday, the 24th of September. This is the Dax Technical Analysis Summary. We've just completed the webinar. That normally takes place around 7 o'clock in the morning. If you want access to that, you'll need to get the link from the Telegram channel and check the description below for those. Trading disclaimer applies, and of course, trading financial markets is risky. You should only be trading with risk capital, and the disclaimer is in the bottom. Please read that before you proceed. Okay, I hope you all had a good weekend and are ready for a new trading week. In front of us here, we've got the daily chart for the DAX, and the candlesticks are starting to suggest that we are coming up to this channel resistance here. Now, in the webinar, I was discussing that this is by no means any kind of guarantee of a reversal, because if a whale trader did want to come in and just wipe that level out, then that's what they'll do. And resistance doesn't mean a great deal for them. But based on what's happened before, there's potentially a high probability that we get a turnaround here. So we've got this down-sloping high-to-high trend line here. We had some similar formations of candles back here in July, and we're starting to potentially see that over there at the moment. We've had a gap lower, starting to form a bit of a delta imbalance to the downside, but it's way too early to kind of draw any conclusions from this today. So that's kind of the overall picture on the daily chart. We've just had a 700-point move split up into two parts here as a bullish reaction wave from these lows down here at 11.8. And we're now wondering whether this is going to be the top of that zone after that final thrust from Thursday. Okay, if we just zoom in and take a look at that overall bullish wave that we've seen, this is the individual swings, and we're looking at the volume and lots of other information of the individual swings. And you can see that based on these two splits, whilst the trajectory of the second half of the swing was a lot more aggressive than the first, it's on declining volume. So that's an interesting signal, certainly as now the bid volume is starting to increase, which maybe starts to suggest with that bit of divergence that we could signal a move to the downside. So for me, I was looking for a break below 320. That will pretty much start to suggest that we're getting this corrective move from this overall swing. And then the swing can start to look to move to the downside, and I'll be looking for entries to move to the downside. Okay, as far as ideas were concerned, if we just zoom in once more, even further there, we've got this. Now, this was Friday's trading, and we had this upsloping low-to-low trend line here that was gapped this morning. We've kind of closed the gap between Thursday and Friday here, which we're looking to test the underside of right now. So part of my thinking was that we'd get this move. Actually, there's an idea that I'm just going to pull together on the fly here. I didn't discuss this in the webinar, but it's maybe got some weight. We'll see. We'll see how, if anything. I don't know whether that's a valid action point here, but I've just pulled a simple action center reaction based on this. Don't know how much I like it, but we'll see how valid that sort of area is down here. But my idea was that we'd get this move to downside followed by this pullback. And if I was going to be looking to short, that's the area that I'd want to do it. And in the webinar, I was talking about not really being able to speculate or anticipate where that high might form, but the underside of this higher volume area was the area that I'm going to kind of settle with. So we come down here to tag this area. First of all, we've got this low volume zone that we're trading in at the moment and filling that out. And this profile does show the rest of the volume from this overall bullish reaction wave that we've seen. The 700 points or so that it formed, all the different value areas that are included within that, all the different higher volume areas that are included within that. So they could be targets to the downside or show us areas that we might cut through on the way down if it does move. But that's kind of my thinking for the moment. We'll see how that plays out. And the levels to pay attention to will be these ones. Okay, now these are the exposed points of control around us. This is a TPO, which is not a volume profile chart. It's time price opportunity. It's a time-based profile. And So I was looking at an idea of moving down to take out this point of control first, and then moving back up to take out this point of control. And then once we've taken both of those out, perhaps it leaves a clear run for another move to the downside. So let's see. The market doesn't really care what we think. So all we can do is put a plan on, put a trade out there that fits our risk profile, and let the market play out, see what happens. No one knows what it's going to do. All right. In the webinar, we spent quite a bit of time talking about how trades transact on the DAX, as far as what the order book is, what the depth of market is, and what it shows us, how the bids and ask orders are transacted, and how the markets actually move when more aggressive buyers or more aggressive sellers come along and transact at the market price. Not going to cover that today. Join the webinar. You'll pick up on that sort of stuff when we're there. So again, that's around about 7 o'clock most mornings. You can find the link in the Telegram channel, which will be in the description below, and be there, contribute, get involved. And the webinars are recorded, but the recordings are only available for premium members. All right, guys, that is it. So welcome back. Hope you had a good weekend, and we'll see you again in the morning for another one. Hope you have a great trading day. Take care.